Started in one moment. Yep. So we have people logging in, but we're going to get started in the interest of time to keep things moving along. Thank you so much for being here today on this beautiful day. It's great to have you all here. Today, as you all know, we're kicking off MSIC's member trainings for 2026. And as we have been focusing on with MSIC, these trainings are all going to align with our long-term focus for our cooperative, which is the future of the movement. We have been choosing topics that center around what credit unions should be thinking about and preparing for to remain competitive and relevant in the financial services industry. We at MSIC know the importance of being educated and modernized as it pertains to member growth, experience, and engagement. So thanks again for being here. We are happy to be welcoming back Celeste Cook. She's the CEO of cuStrategies. Today, she's going to discuss with us how credit unions can turn financial literacy into loan opportunities, which of course is, top of the mind for all of our credit unions. A little bit about Celeste, although I'm welcoming her back. She has done webinars for us in the past. I want to just let those of you who may have not met her. She's the founder and president and CEO of cuStrategies. As a credit union industry strategist, Celeste partners with credit unions across the nation, providing strategic planning services and lending consulting and training. In addition, she provides lending assessment services, sales and service training programs, leadership programs, leadership coaching, and consulting services. Celeste has worked in the credit union industry for over 20 years, and she has been a professional speaker and trainer for more than 15 years. And again, she presented at webinars for MSIC that were so well received back in 2025 that we, again, are so delighted to welcome her back. Just a quick note about today's format. We have time set aside at the end of Celeste's presentation for Q&A. So feel free you can send your questions during the presentation, but we will get to them at the end, or you can hold on to them until the end. You can also raise your hand and I can unmute you so you can speak to Celeste directly. But we do have time set aside for the Q&A. So when they do come in, don't worry, I am seeing them and we will get to them when Celeste wraps up. And with that, Celeste, I'm going to hand it over to you. Welcome again. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you all for joining us today. According to Erica, you guys are having a beautiful day there. And so thank you for joining us. What I'm going to do now is go in and I'm going to share. Is it sharing right now, Erica? Can you see?
It is sharing. So you just have to put up the presentation.
Perfect. All right.
There you are. Yep.
Wonderful. Okay.
Perfect.
Well, let's go ahead and get started. Again, this session is focusing on turning financial literacy into loan opportunities. And financial literacy is a very, very critical component of the credit union and our role in how we support our members, but not only our members, but people in the community. So how do we reach out to people in the community and let them know that this is what we do? And I think marketing is a key component of how we communicate what we do and how we support people through financial challenges in life. And every touch point is an opportunity for financial literacy. Not just through financial education programs and seminars, but through our people who engage with our members every day and are out in the community, especially if you're community chartered or even seg-based, where you can go into companies and talk to their employees, but sharing the word and getting your employees understanding that, you know, our purpose and our drive, it's a driven purpose, is to truly partner with people and to help them elevate their financial circumstances, no matter where they are, to meet them where they are. And I think those are key words that we need to incorporate into some of our marketing literature that resonates with especially the Gen Zs and the millennials, which is a segment that we as credit unions need, desperately is attracting the younger generations and getting the Gen Zs and millennials to see the value that we can bring to them and to meet them where they are and wherever they are. So we'll touch on that through this presentation, just to help you as you build your strategies for 2026 and continue to add and build to that. And then also for 2027, because it's very important as we move forward to be able to attract those new members, and specifically the Gen Zs and the millennials. And now they're talking about the alpha generation, and we need to focus on them as well. So keeping all these target demographics in mind as we talk about financial literacy and what that looks like, and how that financial literacy can actually lead to more loan opportunities depending on how we present it and how we train our people to engage our members and people in the community and how we communicate with them. I think it's important that, we recognize, and I think we all know it. I think we all know that people in the industry today are looking for that one-stop shop that can accommodate our every need, no matter where we are. And that includes your A+ member and your member who may be a C, D, or E paper. When you're C, D, or E, we, from a lender's perspective, look at that as a higher risk. And we tend to veer away from taking risk on loans with these individuals. I think the financial literacy component, for example, one of the programs that I offer is a credit score analysis program. We actually partner with them, and I'll talk about that later in this presentation. We talk about how we sit with our members and we review their credit report with them, and we actually show them what's impacting their credit score, meaning we show them the collection item and how it can be impacting their score up to 60 points. And that's why their score is 640 instead of 700, and how that 130-day late payment on their credit card that has a balance of $100 actually impacted their score on average about 60 points. That knowledge empowers those individuals and motivates them to think twice before they ever have another 30-day late payment on their credit card. We say that knowledge is empowering, and we'll talk about that during the presentation as well. But try to think through the presentation as we go through it. What do you think that we can incorporate, and think in terms of simplicity, keep it simple and strategic. I heard Tony Robbins say recently that, if you complicate things, it can kill execution of strategy. So keeping it simple and strategic is really important. So hopefully what we offer you today will at least plant the seed for you to help develop something that is very simple and can be implemented fairly easily to help you capture more loans as you engage your members in financial education. And so let's go ahead and get started. We'll bypass me. Erica did an excellent job of introducing me. Ray Davis was the former CEO of Umpqua Bank on the West Coast. And of course, I'm a strong believer of him. His book, Leading for Growth, is a very powerful book. I encourage you as a leader to get this book. He took a 5-branch financial institution to 120 branches in 9 years. And today they sit at 240 branches all along the West Coast. And they did this while maintaining the best place to work, and voted by their employees as the best place to work, and also by their peers as the best financial institution. Ray Davis was a firm believer in people. I'm a firm believer in people. I have a passion for people. People make or break your growth. You can have the best products, the best systems, the best services, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the best people, you will not ever achieve your maximum growth that you can achieve. And of course, as great leaders in the credit union world, we never become complacent with where we are today. We're always thinking, what can we do to make things better in ways large and small? And that's what he says. You can't grow your business without making it better in ways large and small. You have to sweat the small stuff. The small stuff ultimately makes the biggest difference. It's the accumulation or the cumulative effect of all the small things. You know, how you make a member feel when they come in to get a loan, how you make a member feel when they ask a question or they're struggling financially. Do we just treat them as, you know, a risk factor and say, oh, well, sorry, we can't help you, come back in 6 months? Or do we actually sit down with them and help them develop a plan of action through the lending education that we provide to help them get back on track so that we can actually do loans for them in the future? So we refer to it, a great rule of thumb or mantra to use in lending is we never deny, we defer. Meaning that, yes, they officially and legally get denied, but the experience isn't a denial, meaning that we can't maybe help you with what you're asking for today, but this is what we can do to get you back on track so we can help you in the future. And what does that look like? That's a great lending philosophy to start with, because that literally leads into that educational component of lending that builds to relationship lending. And we're going to talk about that as we go through this presentation as well. So sweat the small stuff. You know, how well do we engage and connect with our members? Are we transaction driven, or are we relationship driven in all that we do and say? Do we focus on processes and procedures and black and white, you know, lending decisioning? Or do we actually treat each individual as one-on-one and offer them the guidance and education they need to get themselves in a position so that we, the credit union, can help them in the future? And what does that look like? And think, just drawing out that map for them, don't just tell them, but show them, is very powerful. People are very visual. Show me, don't just tell me. Show me how I can improve my credit score. Show me how my credit score can go from 480 to 702 in 4 months. And most lenders, if you're a lender in this presentation, listening to this presentation, would say there's no way that could ever happen. Well, it can, and it does, and it has. We have actually helped members improve their credit score from 480 to 702 in 4 months. We have the before and after credit reports on that. We've taken people from 573 to 728 in 4 months. We've taken scores from 535 to 635 so that they can qualify for a mortgage. So knowledge is empowering. So let's talk a little bit about that and what that looks like in this presentation. So as I've been speaking to you in this introductory phase of our presentation today, I hope that I'm getting you to rethink, renew, and revive. And as a leader, that's how we should always embrace every day. And I'm a firm believer in training all of our staff to think like leaders. I believe if we can train our employees to think like leaders, they're more likely to engage like leaders. And most employees don't look at themselves as leaders. And leadership is not a position or a title. It's a choice. It's behavioral driven. You choose to have a positive influence on others. And that's where financial literacy comes into play. And then through that financial literacy education that we provide, we offer solutions that help them elevate their financial situation, meeting them where they are today and helping them get to where they need to be or want to be in the future. And I think that's the most important component of your mission and your purpose of financial literacy, is to meet people where they are and identify and build a map of getting them where they need to be or want to be to achieve financial freedom or financial success. So through this presentation, we hope that we can help you rethink the way you do business with members and with people in your communities. Also, renewing our philosophy of people helping people. When we think about people helping people, we have to focus on not the A plus member, because the A plus member has their act together. They've got everything in order, obviously, because they're A plus. You know, they're able to pay their bills, they're able to make the purchases they want, they can get the best interest rates and the lowest interest rates, and they get the best, you know, solutions that we offer. And so, with that being said, the people that truly need our help are your B, C, D, and E paper. And just as I shared with you a minute ago, when you can take a 480 to 702, you've just transitioned them, transformed them really from E paper to A paper within 4 months. Well, when you do that, you have changed someone's life forever. You've transformed their life. And we're going to show you throughout this presentation what that looks like when they go to buy an automobile, you know, and what that payment difference looks like and how much you're actually saving them over the life of their loan. And I think sharing that type of information with your members so they understand what you're truly doing to make a difference in their lives, if they see the numbers, it is truly a game changer, showing them how much you've lowered their payments, showing them how much interest you've saved them over the life of the loan is so powerful to build a stronger, trusting relationship that builds to, you know, and loyalty at the end of the day. But not only loyalty, one of the things that you want to do in this process through your financial literacy programs and education programs, it's not about the financial education alone, it's about the outcome of it. What are we doing ultimately to help that member? And at the end of the day, I always say that if we can help our members, we can get loans. And ultimately, the credit union needs loans and the member needs help. So if we can restructure someone's debt by taking, you know, credit card debt at interest rates of 29.99, educating them on the interest that they're going to pay over a 5-year period at 29.99% interest, which is a 1 minute or 1 day default rate with some of your largest credit card companies in the market. Knowing that and sharing that with your members and looking at those interest rates and saying, hey, just over a 5-year period, if you continued making your minimum payment on your credit card, I'll give you an example. If someone had $10,000 worth of credit card debt and they made the minimum payment for over the next 5 years, they would have paid out $12,900 in interest on average, and per year, well, 12,500 or 900 over the 5-year period, 2,500 on average per year. So at the end of that period, they would have paid out that much in interest and would have taken the balance down at best $1,000. So they would still owe the majority of that $10,000, but they would have paid out over $12,500 in interest. I think that's the financial education that is so compelling and so relevant, real relevant and relatable to our members, that it's a game changer to help them not only understand if we're able to restructure your debt, meaning that we can take that credit card debt and roll it into the equity of your home and or cars, we now eliminate the interest rate of 29.99%. We put you in a closed-end loan, which means you'll be debt-free completely of all that credit card debt and interest over a 5-year period. You will be debt-free of that. You will have saved $10,000 in interest that you get to keep in your pocket, that you can apply towards savings or some renovation or some emergency or your child's tuition or your child's car when they turn 16, you can put that money into a savings account. And then that compound interest, what it would do for them long term, is absolutely crucial, explaining the power of compound interest. And most people do not understand that. So, the one thing I would ask you to write down if you get nothing else out of this is don't just tell your members what compound interest can do for them. Show them specifically what that interest does to $1,000. For example, if you put $1,000 in your grandchild's account when they're born and just leave the $1,000 in there till they're 18 years old, calculate what the compound interest would be on that $1,000 and how much money they would have at the age of 18. And then if they left it in there until they were 65, can you imagine what that compound interest would do for them and have a solid retirement just off the $1,000? I think those are critical examples of financial education that we can provide. And I think that alone builds the loyalty factor and the trust factor, that financial guidance we provide through the education to not only help the members individually, but their family members, and showing them this is how you can do this. This is how we can put a plan together. And I think that's the most important thing, is training your employees to actually have the tools they need to provide that plan of action and say, here's how you can do it, and put it in writing and give it to the member and show them that if you follow this plan, this is how much money you will have in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Or if you follow this plan, this is how much your credit score will go up in the next 12 months. And once your score gets over 720 and you're a 580 today, what a difference that would make in their payment if they had a car loan with you. And you could actually go back in and do one of two things. You could modify the interest rate and shorten the term of the loan, or you could actually refinance that auto loan at the interest rate of, say, 720 versus 580. And on a $25,000 vehicle, you would lower their payment anywhere from $100 to $200 a month. Over the remainder of the term of that loan, which if it were 48 months or 60 months, just on 48 months, think about $100 a month. That's $4,800 cash that they get to keep in their pocket. And that's the type of language that you want to use and communicate your financial education for your members with. Now, what we're doing right now is sharing with you how you can engage your members individually, one-on-one. The key is getting your tellers trained to be confident to share this same type of information, to educate your members when they're doing a transaction, to say, hey, here is what we can do for you today. And this is how we can do it. And being able to get that referral over to the appropriate person and make it a seamless experience without making your members jump through hoops. Because the one thing you will find is that our loyal members from 10, 20, 30 years ago, they will pretty much engage with us and do whatever we ask them to do. Your A+ members just want you to do the transaction and leave them alone and move on. But the millennials and Gen Zs, they're looking at you, making it so easy for them to onboard. And education is a very attractive tool to use to attract millennials and Gen Zs. But you have to use their language, and we're going to talk about that through this presentation. And then last but not least, we did touch on it briefly just a moment ago, we have, as leaders, we have to continually look for ways to revive our staff, to keep them engaged with our members, building those relationships, offering the right solutions, and not be transaction focused only. When we're transaction focused, we lose opportunity. When we're education focused, we gain loan opportunities. Now, I'll say that again. When we're transaction driven, we lose loan opportunities. When we're relationship focused and education focused, we gain loan opportunities. An example of that is if a teller is taking a transaction and doing transaction for an existing member, and we generally do not have their whole financial profile with our credit union. Generally, members have credit cards at other financial institutions. Their significant other could have a car loan through another credit union or another bank. Our goal is to make it seamless and easy for them to authorize us to be able to pull a credit report to see what we can do to lower their monthly payments, eliminate any high interest credit card debt that they may have, and maximize their credit score so that they always get the lowest interest rates and the best offers that are available to them. And I think that's really important. So for us to move forward and to capture more of the market share and to attract the millennials and Gen Zs and to increase our loan growth and also increase our ability to engage these members with our credit checking accounts, with our credit card, with our mobile app, with our online banking services. I think that's very important. So we have to keep our credit union agile and ready to meet the members' needs at wherever they are at that point in time, and we have to attract younger members and consumers. So we'll talk a little bit about that. I've given you some tips. I hope you've written some things down and some takeaways. And again, if we get through the presentation, which I always include more slides than I generally get to, but Erica will also provide you a copy of this presentation. And so you'll have the supporting documentation in here as we go through this session today. So our next slide is, here's where I'd like for you to take a moment and breathe and just think about what we've already shared just through conversation and write down one or two things that you may want to stop doing. You know, what do we need to stop doing? What do we need to start doing? And what do we need to change? Which means, hey, we're doing things pretty well, but do we need to tweak anything? So when we say we offer financial literacy, well, are we using the language that millennials and Gen Zs relate to? So Gen Zs and millennials are all about their credit score. So one of the things you may want to start is incorporating a credit score management seminar. So you can offer that to the communities or businesses in your community if you're seg-based, and go into their businesses and do lunch and learns, which is what we have done in the past. It's one of my programs. And we go into employment organizations, businesses in the community, and we offer the free lunch and learns, and we offer a credit score management seminar. And it's very, very powerful. We've also gone into universities and offered the credit score management seminar to students. We've offered the first time auto buying program to, you know, employees of companies that we partner with. You want to create a preferred partner program where you can go into companies and build a relationship with them to offer these various educational programs. But when you're doing that, if you don't focus on the loan opportunities that can come from that, then you'll lose them. So one of the things that we encourage credit unions to have, one of the programs I offer is a what we call a mini form referral program. And it's just a form that has a QR code on it that if someone is interested in a one-on-one personal consultation on how to improve their credit score, they can just scan the QR code, fill out the information. It goes directly to the credit union. The lending team or the appropriate staff person gets that information, follows up with them, does a one-on-one personal consultation. If someone has credit card debt and they'd like to see if there's anything that we can educate them on or offer them as a solution, because anytime you educate, you should always have a solution to offer when you're educating them and you find that they are struggling in certain areas. So train your people to have solutions available in their minds of what we can do for them, not necessarily what we can do. It's not this is what we will do. It's if we can, this is what we would like to do. And so the goal is that if we can't do it today, we will do it tomorrow. We'll just put a plan together to get us there. And that's part of the turning financial literacy into that loan opportunity in the future if it's not available today. And so offering that, I think one of the stops, if you don't have one and you'd like to jot one down, would be stop being transaction focused. And I know we as members of, management think that our employees are engaging them in conversation. And in actuality, they are. They're having conversations about the vacation, the children. The members are sharing them with what they did that weekend. So yes, there are conversations, but they're not educational conversations of, hey, let me share with you some facts, because education can come from everyone in the credit union, whether you're in the call center, whether you're in the support, and you're speaking to someone about their debit card. We all have the opportunity to educate others. We have the opportunity to educate others on how we help people in our community when we're at the grocery store, whether we are, getting our nails done or you're getting your oil changed. And, it's so critical that we literally live our passion even outside the credit union. So I think that really ultimately part of our success in growing and creating this financial education culture that will lead to loan opportunities starts with all employees. It's a holistic approach to growth, and all employees need to be engaged in that. So training our employees to understand, hey, let's role play. Let's engage in some conversation with each other and see how comfortable we are sharing with others when they ask, what do you do? What's the difference between a credit union and a bank? And the most important thing is, I will share with you, is I know that we do this. We do it in onboarding. I see it on the websites under the About Us, where it says we're member owned, we're not for profit. We offer, higher dividends and lower interest rates on loans. We started with a folding table and a cigar box. I mean, guys, yes, that is so true. But is that real relevant and relatable to people in the community? Would it be more beneficial and more compelling to share, hey, we partner with people, we meet them where they are, we help them, we show them how to improve their credit score, we show them what they can do to improve their credit score in 90 days and 12 months, and then share a real life example of how you did help someone improve their credit score from 480 to 702. Because if you do this, you will have an example of that. It's been for 15 years now. We have so many success stories of improving people's credit scores exponentially. And it's such a game changer in people's lives, especially when every dollar matters today. I think cost of living, needs to be outlined to say, okay, what do I need to make as a Gen Z to be able to sustain in today's world? Cost of living, just survival. What does that look like? Okay, so how do I sustain and we partner with them to say, okay, this is what we can do to get you the lowest interest rate and lowest payment on an auto loan. This is what we can do to help you, millennial, qualify for a mortgage. This is what we can do to get you in your first home. This is what we can do to get you back on track when you suffered a life event such as a divorce, a medical condition that kept you out of work for a long period of time. Your spouse lost their job and you had income loss, or post-COVID, you had a death of a spouse and you had income loss, which changes people's financial circumstances completely overnight. So, what are we doing to partner with them through those life events? And are we marketing that? Are we educating people and telling our, members when they're in line and speaking to a teller and saying, oh, well, I'm going through a divorce? If we can train our tellers to say, hey, we would love to partner with you and educate you on how to protect your credit and your credit score and protect your assets. We can educate you on that. Why don't you meet with our appropriate person? We call them financial solution partners, financial coaching counselor. It's just a guidance financial guidance counselor that can guide you through that. But it's all about protecting their credit score, and their assets. And those are three key words that you can use in your marketing literature that will resonate with everyone. Gen Zs, there's only one word that resonates with them right now. It's help me build my credit. Millennials are help me get in my first home. So are we putting together marketing information so that when people Google credit builder program, that your credit union pops up because you've created a search engine optimization program that includes these keywords so that you can educate them far beyond the request of a credit builder loan. And that's where you add the most value in your financial literacy that will lead not only to loan opportunities today, but to future loan opportunities because they'll stay loyal to you. So this is just an article. I think that it's important for us to encourage deeper thinking. This was an article that I was reading under CU Growth Outlook, but I think it's really important. It resonates. You have to meet your members where they are today. We have to educate our employees so that they can educate our members in ways that are real, relevant, and relatable to the member, not just products and services, but solutions that will ultimately make a difference in their lives. And delivering that financial guidance. Yes, it says convenience, personalization, but the most critical piece is financial guidance. Guide me through the auto buying experience. Remind me, what am I going to face? Educate me on the knowledge of what full retail is on a vehicle, how to negotiate the price, how to make sure I'm not overpaying in an interest rate. Do I need to improve my credit score to get a better offer down the road? How can you guide me through buying a vehicle that hopefully I don't drive off the lot and the transmission breaks down and it's going to cost me $6,000 so to fix the transmission, and I don't have the money to do that, so I'm just going to walk away from the loan? Educate me on why I would not want to walk away from that car loan with the credit union if my transmission went out, because that's what most people do. Educate me on why I would not want to. Well, the number one reason is your credit score is going to drop about 150 points once that repo hits the credit report. The second thing that's going to happen is no credit union or bank is going to give you a loan. The third thing that's going to happen is you're going to have to go to a subprime lender, and you're going to have to pay minimum about 28% interest up to 45% interest on a car loan, which means if your payment with us was 300, it's going to be 600 with that subprime lender. And $300 more a month times 60 months is $18,000 more that you're going to pay on that for that car versus coming back to us and let us partner with you and get you through this circumstance together. Because if we can partner with them through that journey and they trust us enough to come back to us, then we have an opportunity to educate and prevent a loan loss, which increases future loan opportunities. So education is not just through your financial literacy program where business development presents or your lending team presents. This is a holistic leadership or financial education culture that means we all can educate to some level how they can protect their credit score, and their assets, and always be able to come to the credit union. And if we can frame our marketing material to say we partner with members and people in our community and meet them where they are in the season of their life, and we will partner with you, we will educate you, we will guide you, and we will create a plan of action, and we will partner with you through the journey and get you back on track or get you in a position where you are experiencing financial freedom. And financial freedom, for example, is not necessarily being debt free. Financial freedom is relative to the individual, which means that to some, financial freedom is I could pay all my bills and I have $5 left over in my checking account. Financial freedom to some is I can, pay all my bills, have $5 in my account, and I only have to charge gas and groceries on my credit card. Financial freedom is being able to get out of a loan at 28% interest, a car loan, and getting it down to as low as 18% with a credit union or lower. Financial freedom is you partnering with them to get their credit score from below 600 to over 700, and all of a sudden their payments go down $100 to $200 a month, and you've saved them $12,000 to $18,000 additional over the life of that loan. That's financial education that leads to immediate loan opportunities and future loan opportunities. The biggest thing in this financial education is the two words that I have in bold print. It builds trust and creates relevance. And we need to be able to create relevance with Gen Zs, which is a credit builder program. If you do not have one and you are not marketing it and you don't have it out there as some key buzzwords on your search engine, you need to create that, because they are going to fintech companies right now as we speak, and they are all getting credit builder loans from Chime and Self and all the other fintech companies. Because when you Google, how do I build my credit? Every fintech company has their keywords and they pop up as the primary source. And we have seen this on credit reports over and over again, especially with university students who have actually Googled that on their own, because the one thing Gen Zs do is they Google. So number one on your list today is create a search engine optimization, and then also offer to educate them on how to build a 700 credit score and how to manage and protect it so they can get the lowest payments they deserve. You have to create the digital experience, because digital is what drives them to you. You have to make it easy for them. And that's where the mini form, it's not an application. It is not, let me make it clear, it is not a loan application. It is a form that authorizes you to be able to pull their credit report so you can look at their credit report holistically and look at what their debt is, what if they have collections, how to have them removed. And you need to train your people and educate your members on how to have collection items removed from a credit report to enhance their credit score. not by just having them removed, but paying them responsibly and having them removed. So there are so many different components and so many layers of education that builds that trust and creates the relevance. But boy, it creates the win for the credit union is loyalty, more loans, more checking, because we need to educate people on who we are. And I will tell you, before I go any further, I Googled, and you're more than welcome to do it. And I'm going to hold it up here. It printed out for me in big font. But basically, I Googled what's the advantage and disadvantage of a credit union. An AI overview came up and said the disadvantages of using a credit union often include limited branch ATM access compared to big banks, stricter membership requirements, and fewer advanced digital banking. Guys, this is what AI brings up when someone asks about a credit union. We have to overcome this through our educational strategies. Educational strategies come from marketing. It comes from individuals. Every employee in the credit union is a marketer. What are we telling our members who have checking accounts elsewhere? Are we telling them, are we asking them for a credit card? Are we asking them, do they want our checking account? Do you want our credit card? Are we educating them and telling them that we have over 80,000 ATMs if you're tied to all points in the co-op network? We have, approximately 30,000 ATMs if we're tied to the co-op network. If you're tied to shared branching, we have over right at 4,700, unless the number's gone down since the last time I looked, 4,700 affiliated branches that you can access anywhere you travel. And don't just tell them when you're educating, don't just tell them, show them where those ATMs are. Through the mobile app, show them how easy it is to do business through your mobile app. Don't ask them, do you want the mobile app? Educate them on the mobile app. So this goes beyond just lending. This is across the board on how to deepen that relationship with your members. But the onboarding process has to be easy. And the one thing I would strongly encourage is for every credit union, once you engage them in education, a non-member, the process of onboarding has to be seamless, especially for a Gen Z and millennial. They will not jump through hoops and they will not double click. So you have to make it easy for them. That's where the QR code is so powerful to use, because they're used to that. They love using that technology to onboard and using an authentication process. Go to myfico.com and look at how they authenticate that you are who you are. You have to answer some pretty personal questions. You have to know what street you lived on 5 years ago. You have to know what the color of the first car was that you purchased, or what year and model was the first car you purchased. So there are authentication processes that we can incorporate, that once we educate or we connected with someone, to make that onboarding process easy, where they don't actually have to come into the credit union. They don't. You can actually do a Zoom, virtual meeting to authenticate that that person is who they are by getting a copy of their driver's license. Then you're virtually meeting with them. So there's so many ways that we can go beyond the scope of you have to come in, sign the documents, or you have to be visibly present, which a lot of credit unions still do this, especially the smaller credit unions, not necessarily our larger credit unions, who are using the more advanced authentication processes for verification of identity. So keeping that in mind, The one thing you want to do is build relationship lending through your financial literacy. And I've spoken to that all morning long. I want to see where I am on time. And so building the trusting relationships through those meaningful financial literacy programs and through financial literacy conversations. I really want you to jot that down. It's not about the financial literacy program, it's about financial literacy conversations at every touch point with your members. Hey, do you mind if I share with you? Oh, I'd like to share with you that, we have over 30,000 ATMs. We have over 4,700 branches. Our mobile app gives you access to your money. You can transfer, you can do anything. I can walk you through it. I can set it up for you. I can show you how it works and how it makes life so easy. That is education. Or you can focus on sales and focus on sales questions, which doesn't work as effectively as an education, what I call consultative relationship building. Is let me educate you on why you may want our checking account. Let me share with you some of the fees that we don't charge that others do. Let me share with you, I'd love to share with you that we don't charge $5 to $10 if you use one of our 30,000 ATMs. Let me share with you that Bank of America and Chase only have, Bank of America, Chase, and Wells Fargo all have less than 17,000 ATMs. We have twice as many or 4 times as many, depending on whether you're with All Points, the Co-op, or some of the other networks out there that are available to us. So if you're currently not offering those networks, that may be something you want to consider as well, because long term, Gen Z says, hey, I may not ever use an ATM, but I want to know there's one on every corner. Gen Zs also say, I may never walk into your branch, but I want to know there's one on every corner. Millennials say the same thing. But here is the crux of all that, and this is proof in the pudding. 65% of all millennials do business with the largest national banks, and they do not offer the best products, the best interest rates, the lowest payments, and the educational value we bring to how to protect your credit score, and your assets. God forbid you go through a life event that creates financial challenges for you. And then actually living up to, we will not only meet you where you are, but we will walk that journey with you. And what does that look like? How will we walk that journey with them? Can we develop a simple, quick action plan to help put people on the right track? And that's one of the things that you can, if you want more information on that, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be glad to share with you some ways that you can build that plan of action together. There are the 4 E's of relationship lending. It's called engage, empower, engage, educate, empower, and elevate. So we'll start with engage. Authentic engagement. This is where your people are not only trained, but they are trained with the knowledge that builds the confidence in what they're sharing. They know is truly going to make a difference in their members' lives and people's lives in the community. That we are truly changing people's lives. And the only way they'll know that is not through just the training, but on the back end. Are you sharing success stories? Because credit unions make a difference in people's lives all the time. We just don't do a good job of communicating it to all of our staff so that they can share that real life story. To say, hey, let me tell you what we did for a member recently. We lowered their payment by $300 a month, saving them $18,000 over a 60-month period. We just partnered with a member who was going through some really crucial times, and we helped them improve their credit score, 100 points, and made a difference in their lives. We also want to engage by asking impactful questions that lead to optimal solutions. I think it's so critical when I'm in credit unions and I'm observing the employees engaging the members in conversations, they engage them in conversations. They just don't ask the impactful questions that can lead to optimal solutions. Engaging in an educational conversation is the driver of your success that will lead to relationship lending. Training your people to engage in smart talk. We don't have a lot of time to cover smart talk. It's one of my acronyms that's tied to SMART goals. One, when you engage a member in conversation, be specific. Use specific numbers. The other S in SMART talk is show me, don't just tell me. The M stands for measurements, which is nothing more than numbers, numbers, and more numbers. A is provide me accurate information. The R has 3 R's. When you engage me to provide me accurate information, make sure that you're making it real, relevant, and relatable to me, my life, my circumstances, and my family. And the T is a timeline, anything that you can do within a timeline. And I think that's the power of service, is we'll get back with you within an hour, by end of day. Be specific in your time frame. We can educate you on how to improve your credit score in 90 days. Specific numbers. Your score will go up 60 points on average if we are able to get you current on this loan today. So creating those solutions, remember I said, when you educate, make sure that you have the outcomes in your mind, the solution and the outcome. What solution can you offer them at the end of that educational piece, whether it's just one sentence or it's on several different products. But I'm just educating you. I'm not asking you if you want that product. I'm just going to say it in a way that's so compelling that you will want that product, and you'll ask me, can you have a one-on-one personal consultation? Can I open a checking account with you? Can you actually help me improve my credit score? Can you look to see if you can get rid of my credit card debt? And our employees should then at that point feel really good about themselves and say, absolutely, we can see what we can do. Again, there's never a 100% guarantee, but if it can be done, we can do it. And I think the way we communicate that with authenticity is the driver of our success long term. If we get our employees engaged in just going through the motions of words, that's not authentic. There's no authenticity. And your employees will never engage in authentic conversations unless they feel confident and they believe in what they're saying. And therein lies the power of success of transitioning financial education into loan opportunities. So education, here are some different pieces that you can incorporate, whether you incorporate into a seminar or whether you incorporate it into your training of your employees and allow them to transfer that knowledge, because knowledge is empowering. It empowers your members to make better choices and decisions. It empowers your members to feel compelled to say, yes, I would like for you to see if you can lower my payments. Yes, I would love for you to see if you could help me improve my credit score. Yes, I would love to see if you can help me get rid of high interest rate credit card balances. So understanding their credit score, sharing with them, whether it's a one-on-one personal consultation, whether it's just through just tidbits of information, that a teller could share. Hey, by the way, did you know that, you could lose up to 60 points on a 30-day late payment on a credit card? Did you know that you could lose up to 50 points if you max out your credit cards? Debt management. That most powerful thing you can do is help someone eliminate high interest rate credit card debt, reduce their monthly payments on loans that aren't with the credit union, to help them achieve financial freedom. Then educating them also on predatory lending. People do not understand that predatory lending can be a credit card company that has a default rate of 29.99% if you're 1 minute or 1 day late on your credit card. There are so many A and A plus members out there that are at 29.99% and they don't even know it. There are so many people out there who have 720 scores that have been with Santander for 10 years and they're paying 25% interest on an auto loan when they could be paying you 5.99% or 4.99% or 6.99%. But they don't know it. There are so many members whose spouses have their car loans elsewhere that don't know that you could actually lower that payment by lowering their interest rate if they gave you the opportunity to look to see. So truly, your education is helping them achieve financial freedom and financial success, but it's also leading to deeper relationships, more loan opportunities, and member referrals, which is exactly what we need to rely on, is to get member referrals. And so understanding credit card rates, which I just spoke about, understanding how 0% financing works, understanding the impact of collections on your credit and your credit score, understanding first-time buyers program, what the process looks like, engaging in a first-time home buying seminar or educational piece, navigate the home buying process with the member by sharing that essential knowledge to help them make sure that they get the most out of their investment. How do they do that? So these are some keywords you can use in your marketing strategies and material. The third E is the knowledge empowers your members. So now the education is going to empower your members, and it allows you to offer the services and the optimal solutions that are going to make a difference in your members' lives. And what does that look like? And it's everything we've been talking about throughout this entire presentation. The words we use in this presentation are truly real, relevant, and relatable to people in our community. There are so many people living paycheck to paycheck that an extra $100 a month is a game changer for them. When we can lower someone's payment by restructuring their debt, getting rid of credit cards at 29.99% and putting it into the equity of a vehicle and or equity of their home, and allowing them to be debt free of that credit card debt, but explaining to them the power of not maxing those cards back up and what are their options, sharing with them what are their options in advance so they know to come to you instead of when they have an emergency using that credit card, and a negative consequence of using that credit card moving forward after you've helped them pay it off. So, and I'm elevating your members by partnering them with them through their journey. And that education never stops. It's continual education. So one, going into the community and doing seminars, lunch and learns, getting your employees trained and comfortable and confident and passionate about sharing, this is what we do to help people. This is, I can educate you on everything that we do. Now, I may have to give you to our expert over here in lending, but I'm confident enough that I can tell you this is what we do because I have read the success stories that have come through as a communication tool that has been shared throughout the credit union, that this is what we were able to do for a member. And trust me, when you share those success stories, your employees will share them with the members and other people in the community. And I think when you engage your employees and offer to do this for them, they become your walking testimony themselves. And we've seen that happen over the years. So we were able to get to slide 11. This actually shares some of the programs and how you would actually build them out. I think on the Credit Builder program, you have to tie keywords that says, how to build your credit, because that's exactly what the Gen Zs are Googling. And the reason why I can say that emphatically and unequivocally, because we have talked to hundreds of college students and ask them, why did you go to Self? Why did you go to Chime? What led you to them? And they said, I just Googled how to build my credit. So I think if we can now develop our language and put keywords out there so that search engine optimizations create your credit union name to pop up when someone actually says that. The first time borrowers program, the keywords are establish a credit score of 700 in 6 months. And that's tied to the credit builder program. They're one and the same because you actually have to. Now, if you notice, it says the savings account will pay you 5% dividend on up to $1,000. Well, wow, that sounds like a lot, doesn't it? Well, how many Gen Zs have $1,000 in their savings account? And yet they're drawn to that. And a secured credit card, get 5% cash back on purchases. You're going, that's crazy. We're never going to pay 5%. Okay, think about it. That's just tied to your credit builder program. That's just for your secured credit card. That's just for the person that got that $500 or the $1,000 limit. How much are you actually paying them? And yet the Gen Zs are all about the cash back on credit cards. That's why they're with Capital One, Chase, Citibank, City Finance. That's why they're paying 29% interest on their credit cards. Most of them don't even know they're paying 29%. So incorporating these programs, the first time auto buyers program, that will attract millennials and Gen Zs. The first time home buyers program, that today will attract both Gen Zs and millennials. So these are powerful educational programs that you can incorporate that have solutions that will lead to outcomes for the credit union. And we're going to share with you what those outcomes look like and the solutions look like. So when we engage people, educate, empower, and elevate, we create what we call the win-win solutions and outcomes. The solutions we offer are the ones that we've talked about throughout this entire presentation. But the win for the credit union is that you get increased quality loans, you get increased profitability, you get increased membership, specifically Gen Zs and millennials. You get increased retention and loyalty because of the trust you build through the educational conversations. You get more member engagement. The win for the member is if you can help them raise their credit score, eliminate high credit card debt, lower monthly payments on loans with other financial institutions, and educate them on how to protect themselves against predatory lending by utilizing the credit union and coming to you for all their needs so that you can protect them from going and getting taken advantage of on 0% financing, because they will. And the win for the employees, oh my goodness, the intangible reward of making a difference in people's lives. Employees have walked up to me and said, Celeste, this is the first time in 9 years that I feel like I can truly help my members through this education. Because see, the education was for the employee as much as it was for the member. The education that we shared in training was as powerful for the employees as it was, and empowering for the employees as it was the member. Then also making sure that we are rewarding our employees for engaging in this educational conversations and the financial literacy programs, and offering these 1-hour lunch and learns to businesses in our community so we can access their employees to be able to explain to them why they want to consider the credit union. And it goes far beyond we're member owned, not for profit, even though that is the core of who we are, but it is not real, relevant, and relatable. It's when we say we meet you where you are. We will partner with you. We will look for ways to maximize your credit score, lower your monthly payments, see if we can find a solution to help you get rid of high interest rate credit card debt. We'll educate you. We'll give you a checking account. We don't charge $5 to $10 for using our ATMs. We don't charge you hidden fees on checking accounts. We're pretty transparent. We're honest. We care. and we live to make a difference in every member's life. And that's exactly how we should communicate our story to people out there. So the credit score analysis is a one-on-one personal consultation. Our time's coming up, I think, for us to open it up to a Q&A. But this here is the driver of education that turns into loan opportunities. Because if you can get a member to sit with you or a non-member and allow you to show them what's impacting their score, but also show them how you can restructure their debt or lower their payment on their auto loan, or help them restructure their debt to get rid of credit card balances, and show them how much interest you're going to save them, and how you can get their interest rates down to 5.99%, and then also educating them on how to protect their credit score and manage and protect it is very powerful. This is an example. These are 3 members. One member's score went from 573 to 728 in 4 months. Andre's score went from 561 to 625 just because he was trying to qualify for a mortgage, and he had to get to 620, and we got him there. Michael went from 656 to 712 in less than 1 month, and it put him in a position at that time where he could get 100% financing, which is what he needed to buy his home. And those are real life examples. Here's a powerful visual of the impact you can have on your members' lives, getting their score from below 600 to over 700, truly saving them thousands of dollars in interest. And then here's your demographics that you want to target, which is your 18 to 24-year-olds and your 24 to 44-year-olds. If you want to know more about how to target people who filed bankruptcy due to medical, divorce, job loss, and income loss, and always paid before the bankruptcy, it's a powerful tool to help members who really were low-risk members, suffered a tragedy, and are back on track. And then really your D members are your most profitable members. Cs and Ds are your best payers historically. And then your questions to ask yourself when you go back: how are we going to do this? What are we going to start doing? What are we going to stop doing? And what are we going to change? And then I gave you some supporting documentation in there on Gen Zs and millennials. So if you want to take this back, have a conversation with your management team, your board, and say, what can we do? And here's why we want to do it. Thank you guys so much. We're going to open it up. And I know I'm a few minutes over, so I
No,
apologize.
it's fine, Celeste. You always bring so much information. It's so helpful. I've already had several requests for the PowerPoint. So no, please don't apologize. Everything is so helpful. We did have a few questions come in. You spoke a lot about frontline staff and how important that training is and that culture is. The question is, what does success look like for frontline staff? Do you base it on referrals, completed applications, improved member outcomes? How do you suggest tracking success?
That's a great question. And I think tracking success um, comes from the referrals that you're actually getting from your front line. For example, if I engage a member and they came in to make a deposit, but I mentioned to them that, hey, we're working really hard to help our members lower their payments on their car loan, any loan that's sought with the credit union, and we'd love to be able to do that for you. If they sign what we call a mini form referral form, or they can do it electronically and put it into the CRM and say, hey, member referral wants to lower payment on auto loan, whatever. Those referrals are ultimately the result of the success of that front line. Unfortunately, in response to that question, your front line will engage and ask the question, and my
Yep.
point is they get a shutdown. And I always train the front line, never ask a question and gives you a 50% chance of getting the answer no. So if you can go through an educational based approach of, hey, this is what we do, this is what we can do, and we would love to see if we could help you lower your payment. All you have to do is give me the verbal. If they're a member, you just put it in the CRM. If it's a non-member, they can actually fill out the QR code. but the success is tracked through those referrals. That was a great question. But
So
make sure
actually,
that
you
they're
you
rewarded for that as well.
yeah, and you actually just answered the next question, which was how do you reinforce the behavior of
Uh,
engaging members without turning it into a pure sales culture? And I think you just answered that by saying, it's more about educating the consumer instead of pitching sales. Right? I mean, that's at least how I interpreted what you said.
it is, Erica, and what's really important about that is how we train our people. And if we're focused on sales, 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 see, I'm a firm believer, just as Ray Davis is, if you provide the right service, which to me is education driven service, the sales will come naturally on the back end. And your people are more engaged when they're educational focused, sharing facts, knowledge that will compel the member to want to engage. They will engage more from that perspective than they will sell, 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 get a referral, get a checking account. So, how the manager communicates and trains and coaches up is because I can train the consultative approach, but unfortunately, in credit union world, we've had managers that were out there just wanting how many checking accounts did you get? How many loans did you get? And
Right.
it's really all about the referral. The end product comes from the platform side, and their success is based on the platform. The frontline tellers are all about, did you get me a referral through education?
So if you were to do the next question is about measurement. How long would you say the typical conversion cycle is from education to loan in your experience?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know who asked that, but if we were in person, I'd give you a $5 bill. Uh, that's a great question because it can happen instantaneously. Instantaneously. It's amazing. For example, in one credit union, we trained everyone, the frontline staff and everyone, but the frontline staff got 600 signed mini forms in 1 month, and we had a 50% close ratio,
Wow.
and many of those in one day and in 1 week. I mean, we had one credit union, $1 billion credit union, that had to hire 3 new underwriters. What a great problem to have.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's a great problem.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yes, it's highly successful, but it's not just the training; it's the follow-up coaching. You have to have effective coaching. That's important, and then the reward system and the communication of success has to be in there to keep the momentum going. It's a unified effort, but it's fun and it's exciting,
Hmm.
and the employees love it. And that's the most important thing, is when you've got your employees buying in and loving what they do, because their members come back to them and say thank you so much because the sad thing is, the front line, if they ask a question, do you want to do this, do you want to check, and they go, no thanks, I'm not interested, tellers generally will shut down and never go back to overcome the objection.
Right, right.
So you have to train your people not to ask that question that's going to give you a 50% chance of getting the answer no. And usually, as I said, that's education based, to get people to say, yes, I'd like to know more. Yes, I'd like to do that. And they don't have to wait for it. They can just give the verbal, we do the referral, and then our people follow up with them. Um, you know, for me, I'm a firm believer that if you're going to pull a credit report, that, especially if it's a hard pull, that you need a signature on that. And so it can be
Hmm.
a QR scan, and they can just sign it, or it can be a signature pad in the CR system and they can just sign it, and it goes directly to the lending team. And a lot of those close that day, the next day. And then you've got people that just don't qualify, and it
Right.
might linger on. So great question. Love those questions.
Yeah, thank you so much for the questions. Um, that does look like that's it from our audience. Again, thank you. All great questions. Celeste, you're always such a wealth of information. You always give us so many great takeaways and valuable, really detailed information, which is great, and which is why your slide decks are always, everyone is always following up. Please send them along, which I will do. Um, uh, also the so the presentation deck is available upon request. Just send me an email. And then the webinar will be posted to our YouTube channel just for our members early next week. I'll let you know when that's uploaded. And then as far as what's coming up for trainings, we have next one is May 12th. It's going to be Strategic Balance Sheet Management in a Shifting Economy. That's from the Baker Group. That's May 12th at 10 o'clock. And then on June 17th, we have Key Strategies to Attract, Engage, and Retain Top Talent. That is Celeste again, who will be back with us. So we look forward to welcoming her back in June. We have some additional webinars and programs that'll be added to our agenda throughout the season. So just keep an eye out for my email. And then lastly, for any of our CEOs that are on, please do share with your board about MSIC's ongoing board governance training program that's being brought to you by MSIC and Rising Above Enterprises. We had our first session on April 7th. The next one is May 5th at 6:30 in the evening. It's the board's role and strategy. Please send your board members. We've had great turnout and great feedback, and we are really happy to be rolling that out to our membership. Celeste, thank you so much for being here. We
Thank you.
look forward to seeing you again in June. I'll obviously provide your information to anyone who's, who's looking for the slide deck so they can be in touch with you directly. And thanks everyone for being here today. Have a great day. Enjoy the beautiful weather.
Thank you. Thank you all. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Celeste. Talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.